Hey there guys, and look where I am. I am home. I am back in front of my bookshelf, which I just put back together. Oh, so great. I found out how many books I acquired actually while I was gone, and there are 3 crates stacked up above my head here that you can't see. So a lot of books, but I am home. I am now a college graduate, and yeah. More about that, I think, in Mondays from the notebook, because it's going to be my May wrap-up, and it might as well be a life wrap-up as well. Today, that is not important. Today, what is important is this book, Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, which I finally have finished, and I am so happy to finally give you guys a review of this. This is a spoiler-free review of Lady Midnight itself. I may make reference to some things that happen way after the end of her other 2 series, Immortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, but I don't think that's really going to happen because this book, you don't have to have read the Immortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices to understand this. You definitely get more of a sense of the characters from those novels when they interact in this one, but I think this book does a really good job of giving a new reader enough information of those characters who show up in previous novels without hitting an old reader who has read those books in the head when those characters are introduced. So that's my thing on that. If you are looking to get into Cassandra Clare, you can start with this book, even though it doesn't necessarily make sense in the timeline. I genuinely was not sure what I was going to feel about Lady Midnight because I wasn't necessarily very connected to these characters when they appeared in A City of Heavenly Fire, you know, at the end of the Mortal Instruments, and I found the story that I knew was coming to be kind of trite, and I thought, oh god, you know, here comes this romance, this like Romeo and Juliet kind of thing where they want to be together but they can't, and yeah, I honestly didn't have high hopes for Lady Midnight. That's just how it is. I haven't loved a series of hers as much as I did love the Mortal Instruments. I really liked in the Infernal Devices. I thought they were some of her better written work, but you know, there's something about your first that's always the big wow factor, and then everything after that kind of is what it is, I think. Then I read Lady Midnight, and I started to read it while I was in school, couldn't have enough time to really get into it, and I think that my particular worry about not going to like it really, it didn't inspire me to read it a lot. And the beginning was kind of slow for me, so I didn't feel as though it was something I should drop my studies and read all in a sitting or a couple of sittings. It is a rather large book. So I got a little bit of the way into it. I think it was like 20 or 25%, and then I put it down and I didn't pick it up until finals week of school. And I can tell you that after that initial slower beginning, I really found my stride with these characters and their emotional struggle. This book doesn't just focus on Emma and Jules, it focuses on Emma and Jules and their entire family, and it is rotating POV mostly between Emma and Jules, but also some of Mark and some of the other characters that are in the book. The love story that I was so worried about being so pervasive is a factor in this book, but not in the way that I expected it to be. I expected it to be that kind of lovey-dovey, gushy kind of annoying thing that I hate, and I don't know why I expected that, because I know that Cassandra Clare is better than that, but you know, such is my fear. But as I got into it, I think this is probably the one book where I have felt the most amount of emotional depth through all of the Cassandra Clare books that I've read. I understand how Emma and Jules feel about each other, but how they feel torn apart because of the family dynamic and the fact that at the end of City of Heavenly Fire, Jules's parents are dead and his brother is taken away and his sister is sent away. So Jules, at 12 years old, has to take over this family of a bunch of kids, and Emma becomes his parabody because she doesn't want to be taken away from him either, even though they know that it isn't a great thing for them to do because they individually know how they feel about each other. And that family dynamic, that emotional entanglement of, you know, how do you be a brother when you're also trying to be a father, and how do you know what you need for yourself when all these other people are depending on you. It was heartbreaking, and it gave the book a whole new level that I hadn't expected and that I really, really loved. That for me was the thread that tied this whole book together. The plot itself and what was happening there, honestly, I really wasn't that enthralled by. I know that it meant a lot to Emma, but it seemed okay. I mean, it was an okay plot, you know. It wasn't anything earth-shattering. It was interesting. It was different from things she's done before, but that is a problem when you have written so many books in the same universe, is there's only so many villains and so many, you know, fights and stuff like that. So there was nothing wrong with the plot at all. It was just okay, and that was fine for me because I was, you know, enthralled by the emotional background of the Blackthorn family and Emma, but that is a thing, you know, it's not the greatest, and I found especially the climax to be kind of just like, eh. It's very weird for me not to be interested in the action and adventure sequences, and so I think that that's like a good and a bad sign for this book in that way. I don't know. I also didn't understand the epilogue. Like, this whole thing, you know, the whole setup for the next book, because the ending kind of ties things together really neatly and leaves this one little, like, couple of eyes in the background glowing kind of a thing that I didn't really understand why I was supposed to be interested in this plot arc continuing. I'm definitely interested in the story with Emma and Jules, but that too was just like very, I don't know, it felt very subservient to the actual emotional plot going on, which I'm fine with, I guess, but if you're really into action adventure plot, I guess that would be an issue for you. Overall, I will say that I found Lady Midnight to be far stronger than I expected it to be, especially because of that emotional depth. I think that I've come to expect, especially from the Mortal Instruments plot that is very focused on the action adventure, the speed, the fights, the magic kind of thing, and while it does involve emotional character plot lines, those are subservient to the larger save the world kind of a thing. And I think the interesting thing with Lady Midnight is it is after the world has been saved in a way, and so Cassandra Clare has time to really delve into the emotional whiplash of the war that has occurred recently and what that has done to the remaining shadow hunters who are just trying to pick up the pieces. And so I both appreciate that and found that to be a reason why the plot itself didn't work out so well, but I think that it lays the groundwork for a really phenomenal series. I think that if the emotional weight that is contained within Lady Midnight is continued forward and the plot is upped a little bit and there's more punch behind it, then it'll be definitely an amazing series that I'm really excited to read, and I didn't think that I was going to be when I heard the idea for this book originally. So I gave the book 4 stars, and I hold to that, and literally all 4 of those stars just for the heartbreaking family dynamic between not just Emma and Jules, like I said, but the whole family, and it is a really large cast, so I can't believe that it works out that well, and I think it's a testament to Cassandra Clare's writing that it does. So yeah, really looking forward to the next book, hoping that the plot, you know, gets upped like this, but otherwise, great job, and I can't wait to read the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!